Hey everybody, it's Jim here. Welcome to day 2 of the guitar tournament that I let the computer automatically seed and generate matchups for, which have led to some very interesting kind of head-to-heads between guitars that you normally wouldn't see going up against each other in an effort to find which one I think is my favorite based on this seeding structure. Last week we did all the even numbers in the opening bracket. Today we're going to be doing all the odd numbers, and this week is going to be a little bit tougher because all of the Fender JV guitars are included on this side of the bracket. So some tough decisions will have to be made. As always, we will be doing the same exact thing as far as specification-wise of what we're going to be using to do today's test. The Tone King Gremlin combo amplifier. For drives, we'll be using the Benson preamp. And for reverb and maybe tremolo, depending on the guitar, we will be using the Source Audio True Spring. Each guitar is only going to get about a minute per matchup just for my own sanity's sake editing this. But with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. We have another play-in match, and this one is one that it's a rough one because it's two absolutely stellar guitars, and it's unfortunate one of them is going to go out this early, but it is what it is. Starting off with the Fender Japan traditional 60s Jaguar going up against the vintage Fender JV Jazzmaster. This is a perfect example of why I like to do things like this once in a while, and I encourage you to do similar things with your own rig. Because on paper, you might think one guitar is a better guitar. or a guitar that, you know, it's irreplaceable, or things of this kind of nature. And sometimes that is the case, and especially with me, like I love hard to get Japanese guitars that are not available here in America to begin with, and even harder ones that are vintage like this. Like this JV Jazzmaster is impossible to find another one of these. But with all that being said, I like this guitar better than this one. And I think there's a few things that go into that. That guitar provides me something I don't have, and it makes me play in a different way. This one, I think if I was going to be playing more aggressively, then I think I would favor this one more than that one. Feel-wise, they're both incredible. This one feels much more like a proper American old vintage guitar really would. Whereas this one does feel more modern, and it has a slimmer nut. I think it's 40 or 41 millimeters, very, very narrow. This one has a more traditional one. I think it's 42 or 43. This is fantastic. It really is, but I just think for me and my style of music and what I really like, if it comes down to the come down, as great as this one is, if you're going to hold a gun to my head and ask me to choose between this one and the American Vintage Jazzmaster, I'd take the American Vintage over this one. Yeah, it is what it is. So, long story short, I'm very surprised because I personally had this going much further in the bracket. But it's out in the playing round. We're going to go with the Jaguar. The next matchup is between two of the most important guitars that I've ever owned. The first instrument that I ever bought, the Squire Affinity Stratocaster that was made in the mid to late 1990s, and the 1982 Fender JV ST57 Stratocaster. These are two awesome guitars. That one's aged really well. I know there's a lot of praise for modern production on the budget side of things, and a lot of them are pretty good. That one's really good. I wish that the tuners were better on it, though. That thing has a very difficult time staying in tune. That's easy to adjust, and the bridge is cheap as chips. I don't even put the arm into it. Doesn't matter how I set the thing up. It's just not very reliable. But the actual feel of the neck itself on that guitar, it still feels just like home to play. And I originally put in a set of American Standard pickups in this guitar. It was the very first time I ever attempted to swap electronics on my own. As you can see, it's still a bit of a mismatch going on. Not all the parts are there, but I think it definitely helped the guitar out quite a bit. However, this has been the gold standard. This is the one guitar that I bought, and I said, this is good enough. I'm happy. And it's been that way since the late 1990s. And it's not going to change anytime soon. So, the winner is the JV. Next in the bracket, we find another interesting matchup. This is a parts caster. It started off as a classic vibe Jaguar. The only part that remains from the factory is the body itself. The rest I have modified extensively, going up against the 1984 Fender Japan JV Telecaster. Both of these guitars are fantastic, albeit for very different reasons. I love this one because it's got sentimental value. This started off as a Christmas present to my child, and it's been modified to hell and high water. Sound-wise, I love the neck pickup with gain on it. It sounds so good. It's almost like a Strat with a shorter scale length to it. It's just killer. I absolutely love that aspect of the guitar. And the neck, I mean, it's from an American original Jaguar. Feels really good in the hands. But this guitar is something special. It's all original outside of the bridge saddles. I really don't like the threaded steel saddles. They dig into my hand when I'm playing, so I replaced those. But the electronics and everything else are original. It rings like a bell, but this is going to win this round. However, this desperately needs a new set of frets on it. There are some spots on this guitar where there's almost nothing left, and it definitely impacts my ability to fully enjoy this guitar, but it's understandable. This guitar is as old as I am, born in 1984. It's 40 years old, and these things happen over time. But I only bring this to you because who knows how that will affect how this goes onwards into the tournament. Long story short, the JV Telecaster wins this round. Moving on, we have the Custom Shack. This is a Squire Affinity Strat that has been modified, and it was sent to me in this form, so I'm not the one that removed the Squire logo and put it on there, and some Amazon style pickups on it, going up against the Cory Wong Stratocaster. So let's see how this one goes. That's a rough guitar to play. Doesn't take much. This was a very, very easy one. This guitar is exceptional. I actually prefer this blue Cory Wong to the surf green one. It just feels a little bit better in my hands. I definitely prefer this of the two. And compared to this one, this guitar, this didn't come from a factory. This came from one man's idea. Bless the guy for his ideas. I don't think these pickups work well together whatsoever. But if you were trying to, I don't know, I'm not going to sell the thing for you. Basically, for what I like, it doesn't feel great and it doesn't sound all that great. Not all of them are great. Cory Wong wins. The first match we had today was a play-in match between the Fender Japan Traditional 60s Jaguar and the Fender JV Jazzmaster. The winner was going to face this guitar, the Fesley FST 350. The Jaguar won, and we're going to talk about that in our kind of summary afterwards. And thus, we have one final one to go over. Jaguar versus the Fesley. Let's get into it. I wanted to play this a little bit differently than I did at the beginning of the video, where it was mostly clean and surfish. And I don't know, this is a tough one because it's not fair. A lot of these matchups that we saw in today's video and in the previous video, due to the nature of being randomly drawn by the computer, first of all, the guitars are not similar in the sense that they should be compared apples to apples. A lot of them, the majority, are apples to oranges. But also, another thing worth keeping in mind are just price points. There's a big gap between this guitar's price and that guitar's price. I really think that that's a really solid guitar, especially considering it's under $200. I set it up after the initial demo that we did. I polished the frets really well and got it really stable with the trem system on it, the vibrato rather, and it's perfectly fine. It's really good. But the thing is, in a video like this where I'm just talking about which one I prefer between the two of them, it's really nothing to say bad against this. It's an easy choice. I believe that this would be the guitar I would pick 99.9% of the time if I were to choose between these two guitars, and therefore the Jaguar is going to move on into our main bracket. So let me turn this off. We're done with playing for today. This is how the bracket looks now. We are down to 8 total guitars. We have 2 videos left in this little mini series. The first is going to be the entire round of 8, or the quarterfinals, and then the last video will have both the semifinals and the finals included. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want to see a third place match. I know it's done in the World Cup, but it's definitely not done in the UEFA Champions League, so I'll leave that up to you whether you want that included in the video. However, I think I've rambled on enough. Thank you for watching today's video. If you're enjoying this series, let me know by leaving a like on the video or letting me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. As you always do, I try my best to respond when I do have time to do so. Play your guitar and tell somebody in your life that you love that you do love them, because life is short. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy, everybody.